morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is that you're tuning in. Welcome and welcome back to the show. Today is Thursday, May the 10th, and today's topic is pretty simple. I'm just gonna call it Men of Hip Hop. I just want to discuss a couple of little things that have been trending in the media world lately. So if you're interested, let's get this whole little discussion popping. Everybody knows about Kanye's recent visit to TMZ last week, and about some of the things that he said. And me personally, I'm a little concerned for him. I feel like he's lost his mind. I mean, I've felt like that many times. Like, this ain't the first time this man has said something crazy or had a public meltdown or whatever, Bush hates black people, Taylor Swift, the list goes on. He's done a lot of interesting, strange, odd things, but that is within his character. But this recent little outburst, if you will, has got everybody kind of like looking at him sideways, because as we all know, the racial divide is heightened, and everyone feels sort of anxious when sensitive topics such as racism and division is brought up, because we have unarmed black men being killed or assaulted by policemen. We've got unarmed black women being assaulted and roughed up by policemen, even killed, because remember Sandra Bland. So I mean, it's an interesting time for us. So if you don't know, I'll just give you the little basic rundown. Kanye West went on to TMZ to be interviewed, and he was talking a lot about free thinking and how much he loves Trump, and that's his homeboy and this, that, and the other. And then he gets to a point in his little rant where he says this sentence that 400 years of slavery after that point seems like a choice. So a lot of people took to social media, and the funny memes, of course. We live for those. But I mean, at the root of it, it's a little problematic, because now he's discrediting everything that all the social activism groups are fighting against. We want to be seen as people, not animals, not supernatural beings, not things that need to be feared. And for him to say this kind of makes me feel like maybe he's sort of under the influence of being hypnotized. Maybe he's still under the influence of his opioids. Who knows? There's some sort of mind altering that's going on within him, though, because we all know that he hasn't been the same since the passing of his mother. So if this is just another level of his crazy peeking out, then I really feel like he needs some sort of assistance. He needs some sort of guidance, some counseling, something, because I am concerned about him, his well-being, his mental health. Because that's just not him saying something just to make people react. Maybe partially it is, I don't know. But when I looked at this interview, and I watched it a couple of times, he kind of rambled on, and he was jumping from topic to topic, which made me feel like this man is not okay. He was talking about standing on tables, and he was talking about we should just love each other. Then he was like, Trump's my homie. Oh, the Crips, they love me. They're like my brothers. They want to beat sense into me. And I'm like, dude, you sound off. what do you guys think about it? Because personally, I think he needs some sort of, he needs to be put away for a minute and put under some psychotherapy. Because this is just not, it seemed very out of body. The way he was going off, and then his mood kept changing. And it was just odd. So he proceeded to say other crazy things like he got addicted to opioids because of us as consumers and fans and I guess paparazzi and media outlets, making him feel like he has to be or attain this perfection or whatever in his delusional mind he thinks he is. He feels he needs to attain it just to remain credible, I guess. I'm not quite sure. I don't know how to pinpoint where he was going with it, but he blamed it on us, as well as him getting liposuction so he can look good. And last time I checked, I didn't know Kanye West was a supermodel, but hey, I digress. But they Harvey proceeded to ask him specific questions, and he kept avoiding them. Like, he kept giving like a broad answer. Like, he never discussed why he is in alliance with Trump in his campaign. Every time he was asked specifically why, he was just like, I'm an artist and I have an open mind and publicity this and that. It's just weird. He just kept jumping from subject to subject. And, yeah, he just really sounded out of his mind. So I just want to hope the best for him. Hope somebody gets him some help, because he sounds out of his damn mind. But I'm glad that Van Lathan, one of the reporters for TMZ, he came up and he spoke his mind, and he kind of said what everybody was thinking. Because honestly, everybody was just going to allow Kanye to be Kanye and embarrass himself like he usually does. And Van stood up and said, I don't think that you are thinking at all. I think you are in an alternate state. And, you're out of it. You don't even understand what it is to be black in society right now. Because, let's be honest, he's living his rich, wealthy lifestyle with his Kardashian family. And he's pretty much he's as privileged as he could be. So he's kind of out of touch with how things are right now, how the tensions are right now, and just like he's basically like I was saying, out of touch. So Van kind of brought him back to reality. Then it felt like Kanye's brain switched a little. And then he went back to, let's just love each other. In order to get to that point, I'm all for everybody loving and respecting each other and getting along and, peace and all of that good stuff. But in order to provide that type of outcome, the two sides, the us versus the them, have to, one, they have to take accountability on each side. Two, they have to discuss those issues and fairly listen to each other. They gotta be fair, and they have to have open ears and open hearts. That's two. And three, actually make some moves toward the change. Like, if you want something to be different, you have to get up and make those steps towards it, right? Like, if you want to kick an alcoholic addiction, you have to go to AA, you have to get a sponsor, and you have to stop drinking, right? If you want to be healthier, you got to eat better. You got to exercise. You got to implement these changes within your life to get that result that you want. You can't strive for something without action. So, like I said, top three things: accountability, discussion, move toward change. And that's the recipe for that ideal humanistic world that we all kind of seek, I feel. And I mean, and then kind of parallel to this, the Childish Gambino video for This Is America came out, and it sort of kind of is, to me, it sort of kind of relates to what just happened with the Kanye West thing. So he put out this video, and in the video there's a lot of like artistic references that you have to really pay attention to the video and watch it 20 times to get all the stuff that's going on, because there's a lot going on. He's in this warehouse. If you guys haven't seen it, he's in this warehouse and he's dancing around, making these exaggerated faces. And I've watched a couple of theory videos after watching that actual video, and a lot of the theories are saying that, okay, the style he's dancing and the facial expressions and things in the beginning kind of resemble and symbolize Jim Crow, a character that was played back in the 30s, where the late 1800s to the early 1900s. It's a caricature that was played by white actors who were portraying stereotypical black people. Blackface, exaggerated lips, exaggerated movement, exaggerated ways of talking, to make fun of us, basically. So he was Jim Crow, and then there was references to the apocalypse with the white horse and the guy in the black hood riding on top, saying that he represented death and hell behind him. There was lots of chaos, which was kind of mimicking what's going on today. It was depicting just the craziness in the world, the craziness all around, how people are just like mindless zombies trying to get through day to day to figure out, what their next step is going to be. And we never really get to another step because just everything is just so crazy and chaotic. Crime, gun control, police shootings, how guns are more important than people, because in the video, the times that he did perform the shootings, the guns were carried away in cloth and the bodies were drug away like without care. So they also reference the sunken place, and that references the movie Get Out. If you haven't seen that, that's a racially charged psycho thriller that kind of picks the mind of racism and racial stereotypes and things of that nature. If you haven't seen it, go see it and just kind of dive into your research. Be aware is, I guess, my entire take on this video, in this music video, because the video is pretty much an ode to the state of the crazy America we live in right now. I mean, even all over the world, because there's corruption and craziness everywhere. But yeah. So, how do you post in the comments below? How do you feel about that video if you've seen it? If not, I encourage you to go see it, because it's raw in its sense that it's giving us a view. I mean, for those who think that the whole Black Lives Matter movement is BS, or black people are just complaining, minorities are just complaining for nothing, like, really look at it and don't judge it. Just pay attention, because what we've all been saying all this time is pretty much depicted in that video. I think he did a good job, and I'm glad he's kind of shaking up the conversation, because we really need it. We need this conversation. We need to all kind of we need to all hear what's going on and different perspectives of the same story, because like just like art is subjective, everybody could look at a painting and all have a different concept of what's going on, a different understanding. They could all feel differently. So that's also something to hold on to as well. So yeah, because if you really think about it, because there's so much going on, so many outrageous things that the news reports and the radio talks about and things like that, we've all kind of become desensitized. We've all kind of everybody kind of feels like they're on their own. They don't care about us. Oh, they don't need our help. You know, it's like a ping pong. Everybody's throwing the ball. Nobody wants to catch it though. So it's kind of like socially, we view things, we vent about it for a week or two, and then we forget about it. You know, and we're numb to the shock effect. Like nothing shocks us anymore. Nothing makes us think anymore. So kind of going back to the Kanye interview, I agree with the free thinking aspect, because it is kind of like a lot of people are mindless drones and they're just like, oh well, you know, whatever you want to do, whatever they want to do, I mean it's up to you. Like everybody just passes it along. Nobody wants to be responsible for anything. And these are people in position of power who kind of pass it on too. So it's like nothing's really going to get fixed if we don't take a step back, take a deep breath, and just kind of look at our surroundings. Then discuss with each other, well, what's your take on this? How do you feel about this? I feel this way. Oh, okay. Well, that's a different perspective. Or, that makes total sense. I agree. I feel exactly the same way. It won't change unless we change. And in order for us to change, we kind of have to think outside of our comfort zone. So, yeah. So kudos to the Childish Gambino This Is America video. Haven't seen it yet? Go watch it. You might learn something. You might feel something. My last topic for Men in Hip Hop today is the resurfaced video of DJ Khaled. Everybody's talking about that. So, if you haven't seen or heard anything about that, DJ Khaled, this is a resurfaced interview from, I believe it was 2015, and he went on to promote his new album and to talk about his headphones and his business and everything. And DJ Envy, Charlamagne the God, and Angela Yee proceeded to start asking him questions. It segued into, you know, his sex life. And we some kind of way got on his reluctance to please his woman orally. DJ Khaled says he does not give oral. He does not. He will not and does not do that. In his words, I don't do that. And that seems to me like a really archaic form of thought, because I mean, people are out here doing some freaky shit. So I mean, to be honest, oral, and then, but the part that made it worse for everybody is the fact that he expects it given to him, but he will not reciprocate. So I mean, you know, when you're in a marriage, when you're in a committed relationship, when you're with somebody, you trust them, you've been together, y'all have children together, whatever have you, it's kind of expected for you to be as thoughtful as you want them to be for you. because you are now in this whole committed relationship, and you you're even, you're on level playing field. Like, you know this person's down for you, they know you're down for them. So I don't see what the problem is. And like Charlemagne asked, he was like, so like what happened? Did you just have a bad experience? And then he sounded like the most immature, childish, teenage boy ever by responding, nah, I just don't do that. How do you know if you like something if you've never tried it? And in my last relationship, I was challenged on a lot of things. I'll get into that discussion way later, but I had to learn that compromise, you meet in the middle. You have to meet in the middle, or else your relationship is going to fail or end. Or y'all both gonna be miserable, or one of you is gonna be super miserable. But at the end of the day, in a relationship, it should be kind of exciting to you to put a smile on your partner's face, you know, married or committed. And I lost a little human respect for him, because he came off very like macho 1940s male chauvinist, misogynist type of dude. And it was just like, wow, we're well into the 2000s and people are still thinking that way. And like I said earlier, like, there's a lot of freaky, weird shit people are doing sexually. I really think oral sex is like the basic now. It's as basic as missionary was back in the 90s. You know what I mean? So that's my personal view on the whole thing is, if your partner likes it, you better do it. Because I mean, if they're good for you and good to you, they're gonna do what you like as well. So it's not like you're losing. It's not like you're missing out. You know, and for him to just repeatedly say, I just don't, I just won't, I can't, seemed problematic. But a lot of people are on, you know, the social media platform saying, well, she must have somebody that's doing it for her. Because at the end of the day, we're living in a selfish time. So a lot of people are like, well, you don't do it for me, I'm going to find someone who will. Polygamy is in right now, you know. It's not that it wasn't ever in, but it's more accepted, socially accepted right now. So, you know, if he's not doing that for her and she really, really wants that done, she probably has a side bae who performs oral for her. Yeah, so he feels that it's a man's right to be pleased in that way. And he feels like his way of pleasing her is, I pay these bills, I got you this house, do you like the food in this house that I got for you with my money? Like, basically saying his pettiness is her reward for being with him or whatever. Like, that just, it's a head scratcher for me. But you know, what do you guys think? Do you feel like it's fair for him to say such degrading things about his wife? Do you feel like, you know, she deserves for him to say that kind of stuff about her in this public, you know, fashion on the radio? Like, do you feel for her, or do you not feel bad for her at all? Let us know. Let me know. And yeah, because I personally think it's unfair. In a relationship, you gotta become an adult, you gotta grow up, and you gotta say, okay, this is what you like, I'm here for it, I'm gonna give you what you like, because you do that for me. Gonna take a quick break. All right. Welcome back. Hope you got your snacks. I hope you took a little pee break or whatever, and we can get back into this discussion, this topic. I mean, we're talking the racial climate of our America, and we're also talking about the inequality in relationships in the eyes of DJ Khaled. So let's get into a quick story time. Personally, in regards to the racial climate, I don't feel like I've ever felt like more fear than I do in this past 2 years. I personally feel like I'm kind of hesitant to go out and let my guard down, because I don't want to be the next hashtag. And I don't know, it's just a weird climate right now, and it's hard to explain, but it's unsafe. It's just like you have to be on guard. And me, I like to live in the moment, so that's not my strongest suit. It being, hyper vigilant and looking across my shoulder and feeling paranoid, because honestly, that will probably give me anxiety. That would make me want to punch a wall or something. I don't know, but it's a weird tone, and I find myself becoming more socially awkward, more reluctant to step outside my comfort zone, step outside the house sometimes, for constant concern that I may be racially profiled or attacked for no reason, or someone be afraid of me and they have the means to harm me. Because let's be all the way honest, I'm not built for fighting. I'm not a fighter. I've never been a fighter. And I'm more friendly. Most of the time, I'm more friendly than I probably should be. I will not go up to a stranger and start talking, but if I make eye contact with a friendly person next to me in a grocery store and they start talking to me, I'm gonna talk back, and I will be like, I may crack a few jokes, may, quote unquote, make a friend for the minute, while waiting in the line. So now I'm at a constant state of heightened paranoia, because I'm like, okay, who am I standing next to? Am I standing to the next bomber? Am I standing to the next shooter? Am I standing next to the white supremacist who blows up the high school down the street? So it's a strange, eerie kind of feeling that I don't necessarily feel comfortable with playing around with. Now, I've gone out. I just am selective with the amount of outside time I spend. Lately, I may just spend time with family members, friends, close friends, but it just has to be some sort of comfort in there as an incentive for me to step outside my comfort zone, which has become my damn house. But okay, and you guys are gonna hold me to this. You're gonna hold me responsible and accountable. This year, this life year, this physical year, I'm going to do more interesting things. That's what I'm going to put out into the atmosphere, and I'm going to strive to do to make kind of make that social anxiety go away, because I don't feel like it's fair for me to let this news coverage and media coverage scare me into submission to staying home all the time and be so on guard that I can't go out and enjoy my life. I mean, of course, you're required to take some initiative, some responsibility. You know, you be careful, you use common sense, of course, but to just have an irrational fear, I know I have to stop that. And I know I have to get out of my head, because at the end of the day, life is what you make it. So, help me. Help me continue to believe that. I used to be pretty optimistic. When I was younger, like, I could always find the good in any and every situation, even if it was totally shitty, you know. But as I've gotten older, I find myself becoming a little more pessimistic, and I don't like that quality that I'm developing. It's too reminiscent of my mother. Another story for another day. That might take 6 hours to unpack. That's a lot of baggage. But what I'm trying to say, I say all this to say, for everyone, life is really what you make it. And your life is, you are in control of your own life and destiny. If you want to go out and have a fulfilled, exciting, fun life, make those steps to do so. Whether it be getting a job to get you to get you a savings to get you that car you've always wanted, or put together a game plan to get to that career that you want and that you see yourself in, that you know you'll shine in. Because when you're 70 and 80 years old, you're going to look back on your life and reflect and say, one of two things. You're going to say, I lived life to the fullest and I have no regrets. Or you're going to say, I was too safe, I was too afraid, and I wish I could go back and change X, Y, and Z. And I don't want to be that person. I feel myself becoming that person, so I want to put a stop to that right now. And that's sort of the reason why I'm doing this right now. I'm pushing myself outside of my comfort zone. I am allowing myself the platform to vent at the very least. And at the very highest, I am giving myself the platform to reach someone. Whether it be a teenager struggling with like suicidal thoughts, or feeling like no one loves them or cares about them, or a young adult who's trying to just figure out their footing in life and in the world. If you're just trying to find your place, if you're struggling with your sexuality, if you don't understand who you are and you just are on a journey of self-discovery. We've all been there. Some of us are still there. But I am here to tell you that as soon as you realize what it is that is bothering you or making you feel stagnant or stuck, once you find out what that is, you kind of know, okay, this is my envisioned future. I know the big picture. Now, what steps do I need to take to make that dream a reality? And that's what this is all about. So life is all about. That's what this journey is all about. So, yeah. Alright guys, we're going to take a quick break. I'm in desperate need of a little water because my throat hurts. I'll catch you in a couple of minutes. So go ahead, get yourself some snacks, take a little pee break, whatever, make a sandwich. But make two because I want one too. I'm hungry. Anyway, yeah. See y'all in a couple of minutes. All right, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that small break. Just letting you know, if you made it this far, thank you for riding with me this whole segment of this whole entire podcast. I really appreciate it. The support, the love, the comments, everything. Keep them coming. Keep them full of encouragement and just positive feedback. I enjoy that and I appreciate that. So, to wrap up today's segment, the last subject we talked about was DJ Khaled and his obsession with not pleasing his lady. So, as an adult who has had adult relationships, I personally feel like I was saying earlier, when you're in a relationship, it's your job to kind of keep your partner happy, whether it be through compromise, whether it be through giving them attention if they're more needy, giving them independence if they're more independent. Like, meeting in the middle is very important. It's very important for the two people in the relationship. From my experience, I had a time learning how to compromise. Granted, I have older siblings, but my siblings are 30 plus years older than me. Okay, so I basically grew up as an only child. So when I got into my relationship, my last relationship, I was 18 when we met. And to make it just plain, I was selfish. That's what she would always tell me, that I was selfish, and she kind of had to train me how to be more understanding, more giving. She had to teach me how to, because she grew up with a house full of people, 2 older siblings, nieces, nephews, like there's always a lot going on at her house growing up. So she had to learn how to share at a young age. She had to learn how to, still has to share as an adult. So she taught me a valuable lesson in compromise. So as far as that topic goes with Mr. We the Best, as a sexual being, I enjoy sex, right? Don't we all? But me personally, I don't enjoy receiving oral. I more so enjoy pleasing my lady. So I would get more joy by seeing her receive pleasure. So in this case, it's kind of weird for me to listen to this man say these things and take him seriously as an adult, because I'm like, I don't think that's an option. I didn't think that was an option, to just be like flat out no, without compromising or at least discussing, hey, I feel this way because, and that's how you deal with relationships and stuff like that. So for him to just be so comfortable in his arrogance and him to be so comfortable in his selfishness was odd, because personally, I'm single now, and I probably feel like soon I would like to try to date, and if I did have a girlfriend right now, it would be like, okay, yeah, it's part of the deal. I'm supposed to please you. you please me, I'm supposed to please you. Like, I don't know. It doesn't feel like an option. So, I'm just thrown for a loop. Okay, what do you guys think? Give me some feedback. How do you respond to that type of mindset? Do you feel like it's okay, or do you feel like it's totally wrong and off? And how would you respond if your significant other, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, told you, I expect for you to do X, Y, and Z for me, but you don't have an option. You don't have an option. It's a must for you, but I'm not gonna do it. So I'm just gonna let you know right now that don't expect that. But I'll give you my pettiness because I buy stuff. Like, it's not the same field. But anyway, yeah. So give me all your feedback. I would love to know what everyone feels, what everybody's thinking, what everybody's response is to this craziness, because at the end of the day, that's pretty much what it is. Craziness. Because once you become an adult, options barely exist. And when they exist, they're very few and far between. Adulthood is all about compromise, meeting in the middle, or just taking it, dealing with it. It's a lot of deal with it. At jobs, at school, college, as parent, as a sibling, as a child, as an adult child, you have to deal with a lot of things. So, yeah, that just throws me off. So anyway, we're wrapping it up. This is the end of today's little session. And I just want to thank you all for joining me again, for listening, for sticking through to the end. I appreciate it. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the support. And I appreciate your likes, comments, subscriptions, shares, all of that. So keep doing me the favor by joining me on this journey and being a part of this journey, because without you, there would be no Let's Talk. So, to end it off, I'm going to end it off on a question of the day. Question of the day, I said, what would you do if your partner expected one thing from you, but the option, the reciprocated option was like, that's not an option? How would you feel? Leave it in the comments below. Hit me up on my social medias, Twitter, Instagram, and those will all be in the description at the end of the video. So I hope you guys have a great night. Enjoy. Thanks again. Peace out.